quantum computing.
Mm.
Seems like it's the hot topic these days.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It really is. So you've sent over some articles on it.
I have.
And, well, let's just jump right into it. Is it really the next big thing, or is it just hype? You know?
Well, I think it's safe to say it's more than just like a faster computer chip.
Okay.
It's really a whole other way of processing information, and it's all based on some pretty wild physics.
Okay, well, I'm ready for my mind to be bent.
Okay, great.
So in the articles you sent over, you mentioned these things called qubits.
Right.
And they're like the building blocks of quantum computers.
Exactly. So, our everyday computers, the ones we use now, they rely on bits, which are either a 0 or a 1, like an on or off switch, right?
Right, yeah.
But these qubits, they can be both at the same time.
Whoa, wait.
It's true.
So it's not just on or off, it can be both at the same time.
It's this mind-bending concept called superposition.
Superposition.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, think of it like a light switch that's both on and off at the same time.
That is wild.
It really is.
Okay, so...
And that's just one of the ways that these quantum computers are so powerful, because it allows them to explore many different possibilities at once.
Oh, so instead of like flipping through every single possibility one at a time,
right,
they can actually explore all of them at the same time.
That's exactly it. It's like having a massive parallel processing system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it can just do a lot more.
Yeah, way more.
At the same time.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
And then there's this other thing called entanglement.
Okay.
Which is even weirder.
Entanglement. Okay, what is that?
So imagine, right, you have two of these qubits and they're linked together.
Okay.
In a way that no matter how far apart they are,
okay,
the state of one instantly influences the other.
Oh, wow. So they're like telepathically linked or something?
Pretty much. It's like this spooky action at a distance is how Einstein described it.
Wait, so if you change one,
yeah,
the other one instantly changes?
Instantly, no matter how far apart they are.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, and this is another reason why these quantum computers can be so powerful.
Okay, so we've got qubits, which can be in multiple states at once.
Right.
And we've got entanglement, where they're all linked together in this crazy way.
Yeah.
So one of the articles you sent mentioned quantum supremacy.
Right.
And I think it was Google that achieved this back in 2019. But what does that actually mean?
Well, it was a major breakthrough.
Okay.
What they did was they built this quantum computer that was able to solve this very specific problem in about, 200 seconds.
Okay.
But that same problem would have taken a classical supercomputer thousands of years to solve.
Oh, my goodness. So 200 seconds versus thousands of years.
Yeah, it's quite a difference.
Okay, but this was like a very specific problem, right? Not like solve world hunger or something.
Right. It was kind of like a problem designed to show off what quantum computing could do.
Okay.
It wasn't like a practical, everyday problem.
Oh, so it was like more of a proof of concept?
Exactly. It was a major step forward, but it definitely doesn't mean that quantum computers are going to be taking over the watch anytime soon.
Okay.
There are still a lot of challenges ahead.
Like what?
Well, one of the biggest ones is that these quantum computers are incredibly fragile. Yeah.
I think I read something about them needing to be kept super cold.
That's right. They have to be kept at these insanely low temperatures.
Colder than space.
Colder than outer space. And you have to shield them from any kind of interference.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like even building one of these things is a huge deal.
It is.
And keeping it running is another huge deal on top of that.
Yeah, it's a massive undertaking.
So it's like...
And that's one of the major things that researchers are working on now is figuring out how to make these qubits more robust, less likely to break down.
It's almost like having this super powerful sports car.
Right.
That needs a special climate-controlled garage.
Exactly.
And constant tune-ups, right?
Yeah.
It's not exactly your everyday car.
It's not ready for the daily commute just yet.
Right.
But even with all those challenges, the potential applications of this technology are just so exciting.
Okay, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So we've got these incredibly powerful but really sensitive quantum computers in the works.
Right.
So what kind of impact could they actually have once all those hurdles are cleared? What can we look forward to?
Well, the potential is really vast. I mean, imagine being able to design new medicines and new materials by being able to simulate how molecules actually interact.
Oh, wow.
At a level of detail we can only dream of right now.
Yeah.
And
so it's like revolutionizing medicine and manufacturing then.
Absolutely. And it could go even further to that.
Okay, like what?
Fields like cryptography, financial modeling, artificial intelligence, even weather forecasting.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
So it can improve, everything.
Well, it has the potential to touch a lot of different areas.
Okay.
There is one area, though, that's causing some concern, and that's encryption.
Yeah, one of the articles you sent, it talked about quantum computing being a threat to our current encryption methods.
Right.
How?
Well, right now, a lot of our online security is based on these really complex encryption algorithms, right?
Yeah,
And for a normal computer, it would take them forever to crack the code.
right.
But a quantum computer, if it's powerful enough, could potentially break those codes much faster.
Oh, so it's like having a master key that can unlock any digital door.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Oh, that sounds like it could be a huge problem.
It is a serious concern. I
Yeah.
mean, think about it. It could affect online banking,
Oh, yeah.
e-commerce, national security, our infrastructure.
Hmm.
I mean, if our encryption is compromised, it could be really bad.
So are we all doomed?
Well, not necessarily.
Or-
Researchers are aware of this threat, and they're working on new encryption methods that
Whoa.
are specifically designed to be resistant to quantum attacks. So it's kind of a race against time.
So it's like a cybersecurity arms race then.
Exactly.
As quantum computers get better, we need to make our defenses better too.
That's the idea.
Wow.
And it's not just about protecting ourselves from, like, hackers.
Right.
It's also about making sure that the benefits of quantum computing are available to everyone.
Right. So not just like a select few.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
It needs to be used ethically and for everyone's benefit.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that brings us to another important thing, and that's the timeline. Like, when can we realistically expect to see quantum computing become mainstream?
Yeah, I know that the articles mention that we're still in the early adopter phase.
Right.
But what does that actually mean? Like, are we talking years, decades? What?
Well, predicting these kinds of technological advancements is always tricky, but
Yeah.
most experts agree that large-scale, commercially viable quantum computers
Yeah.
are still at least a decade or two away.
Okay.
We're really still in the early stages here.
So I'm not going to be walking around with a quantum smartphone anytime soon.
Probably not.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that we won't see a lot of progress in the meantime.
Okay.
In fact, quantum computing is already inspiring a lot of innovation in other areas,
Okay. Like what?
like artificial intelligence, materials, science.
Okay.
So even if quantum computers themselves aren't quite ready for prime time,
Uh-huh.
the research that's being done to develop them is having a ripple effect on all these other areas of tech.
It's kind of like, what's that saying? A rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly.
Even if quantum computing isn't ready just yet, it's pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's a great way to put it.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see.
So as we look ahead, like, what are some key things to watch for, as this technology keeps developing?
I'd say definitely keep an eye on the progress that's being made in areas like qubit stability,
Mhm.
error correction,
Okay.
algorithm development.
Right.
These are the fundamental building blocks of making quantum computing actually practical.
Right. Right.
So if we want to see this technology reach its full potential, these are the areas where the big breakthroughs need to happen.
And what about the societal impact? Like, how is this technology going to affect our lives in the long run?
That is the big question.
Yeah.
And it's one that we need to be thinking about carefully.
Absolutely.
Because like with any powerful new technology, there are going to be challenges to address. I mean, we talked about the potential for misuse,
Yeah.
the need for really strong cybersecurity,
Yeah.
but there are also these bigger societal impacts to consider.
Like how quantum computing will affect jobs and the economy.
Exactly. I mean, some jobs are inevitably going to be automated as quantum computers become more and more capable.
Right.
But, history has showed us that whenever we have these big technological advances, they usually end up creating new jobs, too,
Yeah.
and new opportunities.
Right.
So I think the key is to just be prepared for those changes.
Right.
And make sure that everyone benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. So to kind of sum up this part of our deep dive, I think it's safe to say that quantum computing is a lot more than just hype, right?
It is.
It's a really powerful new technology.
Absolutely.
It's got the potential to change a lot of things in our lives,
Yeah,
but it's not without its challenges and its risks.
right.
And I think we can't just focus on the technical stuff. We also have to think about the ethical and societal stuff.
Completely agree. And I think it's also important to remember that even though practical quantum computers might be a while off,
Right.
the research that's going on now is already driving innovation across the tech industry.
It's kind of like the space race,
Yeah.
Even if we never end up living in the moon,
Right.
all the technology that's developed to get us there
Yeah.
will have a huge impact on our lives here on Earth.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe someday quantum computing will be just as common as the smartphones we use today.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be crazy. Okay, so we've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
We talked about the basics of quantum computing, the challenges that it faces, the potential that it holds.
Yep.
We've also talked about some of the ethical considerations
Right.
and the importance of making sure that this technology is developed responsibly.
Absolutely. It's a really complex topic.
It is, yeah,
And it's definitely one that we're going to keep revisiting in the future.
for sure. But before we wrap things up entirely, there's one more angle I'd like to explore.
Okay, let's do it.
we've been focusing a lot on the technical side of quantum computing
Right.
and its potential impact on all these different fields.
Makes sense.
But I'm curious, like, how is all of this landing with regular people, people outside of the scientific community?
Yeah.
What are they thinking about all of this?
That's a good question.
Is there excitement? Is there fear, skepticism? Like, what's the general public's reaction to this whole idea of quantum computing?
That's interesting. And I think it often gets overlooked when we focus so much on the technical details.
Right.
I'd say there's a real mix of reactions out there, which is understandable.
Right.
I mean, you have a new technology that's this potentially disruptive.
Well, let's be real. The idea of a computer that can be on and off at the same time
Right.
isn't exactly easy to grasp.
Yeah, it's not an everyday concept.
No, it sounds like science fiction, honestly.
It does.
And I think that's probably why people are both excited and kind of nervous about it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
On the one hand, there's that sense of wonder, right? Like the potential for quantum computers to solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Yeah.
Like coming up with new energy sources or curing diseases that we can't cure right now.
It's almost like this technological silver bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it can solve anything.
Like the answer to all our problems.
Yeah, and there's definitely a sense of hope that comes with that.
Right.
But on the other hand, there's also that fear, that uncertainty, that worry about jobs being lost.
Right.
Because quantum computers might be able to automate tasks that people do know.
That's the whole classic fear of the machine, right?
Exactly. We see it with every new wave of technology.
Yeah.
People worry about being replaced, about becoming obsolete.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's a valid concern.
It is.
You know, we have to think about the social and economic implications now.
Right, as we're developing this technology.
Yeah, so that we're creating a future where everyone benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just a select few.
Absolutely. So how do we manage that, right? Like the hope and the fear. How do we make sure that this technology is used for good
Right.
and that everyone benefits from it?
I think communication is key.
Okay.
We need to have these open, honest conversations about the potential benefits, the potential risks of quantum computing.
Right.
And we need to get everyone involved in those conversations.
It can't just be scientists talking to each other.
No, exactly. We need to demystify this technology,
Right.
explain it in a way that everyone can understand, and we need to be upfront about the concerns people have.
Right.
I think education and transparency are crucial.
And of course, we need to be thinking about the ethical considerations too.
Absolutely.
Right? We have to make sure that quantum computing is developed and used responsibly
Yeah.
in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Right. Not just a select few.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of quantum computing, I think we can say for sure that this is a technology with huge potential.
Huge.
But it also comes with some big challenges and responsibilities.
For sure.
We can't just focus on the cool technical stuff
Right.
without thinking about the ethical and societal impacts as well.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's a lot to consider.
It is.
It's really exciting to be, alive at this time.
Yeah.
To be witnessing the birth of this technology.
It really is.
That could completely change the world.
For sure.
But it's also a time for us to be really thoughtful
Yeah.
and plan carefully.
Absolutely.
We need to approach this with a sense of wonder and possibility,
Right.
but also with a healthy dose of caution.
And responsibility. Yeah.
And most importantly, we need to keep having those open and honest conversations
Definitely.
about what kind of future we want to build with this technology.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Right. It's up to all of us to shape that future.
It is.
And make sure that quantum computing is used to create a world that's more equitable.
For sure.
More sustainable for everyone.
Absolutely.
So on that note,
Yeah.
I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of quantum computing.
It's been a pleasure talking about this with you.
And to our listeners,
Yeah.
stay curious, keep learning,
Exploring.
and engage in these important conversations about the future of technology.
It's in our hands.
The future is being written right now, and we all have a part in shaping it.
That's right.
So until next time, stay curious.
See you then.
Okay, so we've got these incredibly powerful quantum computers, but they're also super sensitive.
Yeah, very much so.
So what kind of impact could they have once those technical hurdles are cleared? What can we actually look forward to?
Well, the potential is really vast. I mean, just imagine being able to design new medicines, new materials at a pace that's just unheard of right now, and with a level of detail we can't even dream of today.
Wow. So are we talking like revolutionizing medicine and manufacturing?
Absolutely. And it could go even further,
Okay, like what?
Fields like cryptography, financial modeling, artificial intelligence, even weather forecasting could see a huge improvement with quantum computers.
Oh, wow. So it could potentially improve like everything.
Well, I wouldn't say everything, but it has the potential to touch a lot of different areas.
Okay, yeah.
There is one area, though, that's causing some concern, and that's encryption.
Right. Yeah, one of the articles you sent over,
Uh-huh.
it talked about quantum computing being a threat to our current encryption methods. Like, how?
Well, a lot of our online security today relies on these really complex algorithms, right?
Right, yeah.
And for a normal computer, it would take like forever to crack the code.
Huh.
But a quantum computer, if it's powerful enough, could potentially break those codes a lot faster.
Oh, so it's like having this master key that can unlock any digital door.
That's a really good way to put it.
Oh, that sounds like a big problem.
Yeah, it's a serious concern. I mean, think about it, right? It could affect online banking, e-commerce,
Oh, yeah.
national security, even our infrastructure. If our encryption is compromised, it could be devastating.
So are we all doomed?
Not necessarily, because researchers are very much aware of this threat.
Okay, good.
And they're already working on new types of encryption
Okay.
that are specifically designed to be resistant to these quantum attacks.
Oh, so it's like a race against time then.
Exactly. It's a cybersecurity arms race.
As the quantum computers get better, we got to make our detectors better too.
Exactly. That's the idea. And it's not just about protecting ourselves from, malicious hackers.
Right.
It's also about making sure that everyone has access to the benefits of quantum computing.
Yeah, not just like a select few.
Yeah, we want it to be used ethically and for the benefit of everyone.
Absolutely.
And that actually brings us to another important aspect of this conversation.
Okay.
And that's the timeline.
Right, yeah.
When can we really expect to see quantum computing become, mainstream?
Yeah, the articles you sent, they mentioned that we're still in the early adopter phase, but
Right.
like, what does that actually mean? Are we talking years, decades?
Well, it's hard to say for sure. Predicting technological advancements is always tricky, but most experts seem to agree that large-scale,
Right.
commercially viable quantum computers
Uh-huh.
are still at least a decade or two away.
Okay.
So we really are just at the beginning here.
So I'm not going to have a quantum-powered smartphone anytime soon.
Probably not, but that doesn't mean we won't see some really interesting progress in the meantime.
Okay.
In fact, a lot of the research that's being done for quantum computing is already inspiring new ideas
Oh, okay.
and new innovations in other fields like artificial intelligence or materials science.
Oh, okay. So even if we don't have the quantum computers themselves just yet,
Yeah,
all the research going into it is already having this like ripple effect
exactly.
on
Yeah.
other tech.
It's a really exciting time to be involved in this.
It's like that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats, right?
Exactly.
So even though quantum computing isn't quite ready for, prime time, it's still pushing the boundaries of what's possible in all these other fields.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, so like looking ahead then, what are some key things to watch for as this technology develops? Like, what should we be paying attention to?
Well, I would say keep an eye on the progress being made in areas like Qubits stability,
Okay?
error correction, making those qubits more reliable,
Right, yeah.
and algorithm development. Those
Okay.
are like the key ingredients to making quantum computing practical.
Okay.
So if we want to see this technology really take off, those are the areas where the big breakthroughs have to happen.
And what about the societal impact? Like, how is this technology going to affect all of our lives in the long run?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's one that we need to be thinking about very carefully.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like any powerful technology, there's always the potential for misuse, right?
Right.
And we've talked about cybersecurity, but there are also these broader societal impacts that we need to consider.
Like how quantum computing will affect jobs and the economy and things like that.
Exactly. And it's inevitable that some jobs will be automated
Yeah,
as quantum computers become more capable.
right.
But, history has shown us that these big technological leaps always lead to new jobs
Right.
and new opportunities as well.
Okay.
So I think the key is to just be prepared for those changes
Yeah.
and try to make sure that everyone benefits from these advancements.
Absolutely. Yeah, so to kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah,
I think it's clear that quantum computing is more than just hype.
it really is.
It's this powerful new technology
Absolutely.
with the potential to revolutionize so many aspects of our lives.
Yeah,
But it's not without its challenges.
Right.
And it's not without its risks.
definitely not.
And I think we need to focus on both the technical advancements,
Mm-hmm.
but also the ethical and societal implications.
Couldn't agree more.
Right? We need to be thinking about all of it.
Absolutely. It's also important to remember that even though we're still a ways off from having these practical, everyday quantum computers,
Right.
The research that's going on right now is already having a huge impact on the tech world in general.
It's kind of like the space race.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if we don't end up living on the moon,
Right.
all the technology that was developed to get us there
Yeah.
has had a huge impact on our lives here on Earth.
Couldn't agree more, and who knows? Maybe one day quantum computing will be just as common as, like, smartphones are today.
That would be pretty amazing, wouldn't it?
It really would.
Okay, well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
We talked about the basics of quantum computing,
Uh-huh.
the challenges it's facing,
Yep.
the potential that it holds.
Yeah.
And we also talked about some of the ethical considerations and making sure that all of this development happens responsibly.
Absolutely. Really important stuff.
So before we wrap things up entirely,
Yeah.
there's one more angle I'd like to explore.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So we've been talking a lot about all the technical details of quantum computing.
Yeah, all the nuts and bolts.
And how it could change different industries.
Right.
But I'm also curious about how this is all, landing with people who aren't scientists, like regular folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's their take on quantum computing?
That's a good question.
Is it all excitement? Are they scared? Are they just skeptical?
It's interesting, that part of the conversation often gets lost in the technical weeds.
Right?
I think it's a mixed bag, really.
Yeah.
Like, with any new technology, especially one that has the potential to be so disruptive, people react in different ways.
Well, and let's face it, the whole concept of a computer being both on and off at the same time,
Right.
it's not easy to wrap your head around.
No, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
Exactly. So it makes sense that some people might be a bit,
Yeah,
hesitant
of course.
or unsure about it.
It's completely natural.
So what are some of the common reactions you've come across?
Well, on one hand, there's a lot of excitement. People see the potential for quantum computers to really make a difference in the world.
Right, solve some big problems.
Exactly, like developing clean energy solutions or maybe even curing diseases that we can't cure right now.
It's like this technological silver bullet, right?
That's a good way to put it.
The answer to all our problems.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of hope tied up in that.
Right.
But then there's also, the flip side.
The fear.
Yeah, people worry about jobs. What happens when quantum computers can do things that humans do now?
Right, right.
Will they replace us?
That classic fear of the machine.
It's a recurring theme, isn't it? Every time there's a big technological leap.
It is, yeah.
People worry about becoming obsolete.
So how do we as a society kind of balance those two things, the hope and the fear? How do we make sure that this incredible technology is used for good and that everyone benefits?
Well, I think communication is key.
Okay.
We need to be having open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks,
Yeah, yeah.
Involve everyone in those conversations.
Right. It can't just be the scientists in the labs.
Exactly. We need to demystify this technology.
Explain it in plain English.
Exactly. So that everyone can understand it and then we can address those concerns head on.
So education and transparency are crucial.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we need to be thinking about the ethical implications.
Right, right.
Making sure this technology is developed and used responsibly for the benefit of all of humanity.
For everyone, yeah.
Not just a select few.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of quantum computing, it seems like the takeaway is that this is a technology with huge potential.
It really is.
But also one that comes with, some big questions.
Definitely, yeah.
Big responsibility.
We have to be mindful.
We can't just focus on the cool technical stuff.
Yeah.
We also have to be thinking about the ethical and societal impact.
I completely agree.
So what's the one thing you would say to our listeners about quantum computing?
Stay curious. Keep learning about it.
Right, because this is a technology that's going to shape our future.
In ways that we probably can't even imagine right now.
Exactly. And the more informed we are,
yeah,
the better equipped we'll be to make sure that future is a good one.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation.
It has. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners, we'll see you next time. Keep exploring. Stay curious.